Okay, I'm back. I am back. This was a time in my life where I didn't have a relationship with God. I knew God existed, but I didn't have a relationship with God. So when I say I had no one to talk to, for real, I had no one to talk to. I could not even go in an inner closet or anything and talk because I was, one, ashamed, because I felt like there would be so much judgment. People saying, how are you still with this dude? You know, you did a prison sentence with him. And when he came home to better than what it was when he left. And he acting like this, like, you stupid. You know that? And I really did the condemnation and the judgment. But I had no understanding of the tricks of the enemy. So I fell into that trap, right? And in that trap, remember, all he wants to do is steal, kill, and destroy, right? And I was there on more than one occasion. And nobody knows this. I actually had 2 failed attempts at suicide. And nobody even knew that I even had tried to kill myself. So these people are on the outside looking in like, girl, you got it going on. Let me tell you something. And heed this. If you have friends, every smile is not happiness. Some smiles are covering serious pain and serious hurt. Some smiles, they are a facade. They are a facade. And it's not until I got a relationship with God that I began to value my life. I began to value me to where I did not want to commit suicide. And I began to talk. I would just go on walks sometimes and I would just let loose, right? And I was new at it, but I was raw with it. All the curse words, all the bitterness, that bitter pill came out, and I didn't feel judged, right? I didn't feel condemned. And it helped me. It helped me process so much stuff. It helped me process the resentment, even the resentment that I had from my parents. My walk, when I began to walk with God, that walk literally changed my life. I know you hear that, and I know a lot of people think that that's so fake. But let me clear some things up with you. I am no ordinary Christian. I'm not. I am truly a work in progress. And if you push me, you can get it if you want it. That's really how I move, and that's until God takes that, if it is to be taken, that's how it's going to be. God did not pull me out of the world some sweet, delicate, gentle flower, okay? I gangbang. I used to gangbang. I used to fight for money. This is the person that God chose. I believe he chose the fighter in me. So since he chose the fighter in me, how can I come to this side and have no fight? How can I come to this side of salvation and be like, oh, you curse? Oh my God, you're going to hell. No, I can't do that. That's not me. That's not me. Now, granted, early on in my walk, I had other people on my walk. And so since I had other people on my walk, I suppressed some things. And they were dormant, not dead. So of course they resurfaced, right? Get on your own walk. It has to be a personal relationship to make it. I'm sorry, I know this went to a whole nother place. I'm still talking about communication though, regardless. Even if it wasn't communication between him and I, it was communication between him and I. So I'm still talking about communication. Be real. Be real with yourself. I suffered a lot of things that I suffered in that relationship from being fake and being more concerned with the next person than I was with myself. I was so busy trying to fix him, I lost me and broke me, right? And before, anybody that knows me prior to will tell you, before salvation, I wasn't nothing nice. There was nothing nice about me. Now, of course, coming up younger, yes. But once I got to that stage, it wasn't nothing nice about me. If you offended me, I was coming for you. And I was going to do the thing. Period. Right? That was how I was. My response to everything, anger, pain, everything was fight. That was my response. If you made me mad, I wanted to fight. If you hurt me, I wanted to fight. If I was in pain from something else and you came across me in that moment, I wanted to fight. That was my response. That was the response that I had. And so, and crying, baby, please, I ain't do no crying. I was solid rock on the inside and the outside because I put up these walls because I didn't want to be hurt anymore. So I put up all these walls. And so nothing could get through and nothing could hurt me and nothing could solicit a tear from me. So one of the first things that happened on this side of salvation, I became the biggest crybaby. And I get teased a lot about it, but it's not like a painful hurt kind of tease. It's not malicious. And it's funny to me because I understand like where it come from. I understand why. Because when those walls fell, the dam broke. Honestly, when those walls fell, the dam broke. And I began to face a lot of things that for whatever reason I wasn't facing. I had pushed down. I had even forgotten. My subconscious had even protected me from these things, right? And these are all the things I took into this relationship, right? So think about that too. We were both damaged coming in. We were both damaged. And then we damaged each other even further. And then his going to prison was traumatic. And it shook loose a lot of that damage. And in that, my response, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to hurt something. And so our arguments, once it got to the point where no more covering, no more hiding, we're not waiting till we get home and going to the park so the kids can't hear us. And you done pissed me off right here in front of these 100 folks. Right here in front of these 100 folks, I'm gonna tell you a new one. That's how it got. And they were epic. They were the kind of arguments that when you see us again laughing and joking together, you sitting back like, they made it through that? They actually rocking with one another after what they just said to one another? That's how it was. That's really, we began to hurt one another even more. We began to traumatize one another even more. And in the relationship, it got to the point, I'm telling you, for like 7 years at least, it was either I was holding on or he was holding on. But there was never a point where we were both trying to keep the relationship at the same time. So it was always one person fighting for the relationship and one person wasn't. And then it got to that point, like I had said in an earlier video, where we both let go at the same time. And that was it. That was it. It became unfixable at that point. It was like, and the part about it was a time, I don't know if the tables was turned, would it have turned out different? But it just so happened at the time that he had let go, I was still holding on, and then I let go. And so if you know anything about me, I'm like this. When I do something, I do it wholeheartedly, right? And I could say there's a I'm done, and then there's a I'm done. And there have been many a times where I was done, but this was the only time that I had become done. And that was that. And that's because in my relationship, and a lot of people are going to have a problem with what I'm about to say, but like I said, you work out your own relationship with God. Don't come for me and mine. Don't tell me how me and my relationship with God could have been, because that will get you told off, just so you know. I prayed to God because I loved this man so much that I really couldn't leave him without being destroyed emotionally. I couldn't. Like, all those times I said I was done, I came back because I had days and days of crying and pain. And so what I had begun to do, he had did something that hurt me to the bone. But I still know my heart wasn't strong enough to leave. So I went to God and I said, God, please, if it be your will for this relationship to end, because I had a lot of people in my ear from church saying, you fix the marriage. If there's no infidelity, you don't marry, you're not supposed to get a divorce. And so that was killing me inside. So I personally went to God and I got completely naked. And I said, listen, Lord, if it be your will for this relationship to end, I need it to not hurt. And I'm talking about the hurt that heart achy hurt. I need that to not happen, God, if it be your will. And maybe about 6 months after I prayed that prayer, baby, he set me off. And when he set me off, I looked at our youngest son. He was the only one still young enough to be a factor in us breaking up, right? I looked at him. I said, pack your stuff. We out of here. We gone. Not a tear. And from that day to this day, when it comes to breaking up, there is not a tear. I love him, but I'm not in love with him. I don't want to see anything bad happen to him, but I'm not going back, right? Even though I decided to help him when he took ill, because a couple of months after I left the marriage, after I moved out and left the marriage, he had a stroke. I still didn't come back. I came to the hospital and all that. I did all that, but I didn't come back. And then like 2 weeks after that, he had another one. And then I think a month or two after that, he had a third stroke. On that third stroke, I moved back into the house, but he was in one room and I was in another room. And that was the agreement. And I'm going to talk about that too. It's going to be there's a lot to unpack. I'm going to unpack what I call staying beyond your expiration date. Don't do it. Because more resentment builds up. Don't do it. So, our communication, it just became hate speech to one another. It had broken down so bad that even when I thought I was saying something right, things would go wrong. And vice versa, I'm sure. I'm sure he probably felt the same thing. Even when he thought he was saying something right, it would go wrong. We had begun to refuse to accept one another's advice, one another's words, or even to validate one another's pain. It was bad. It was toxic. And it became so toxic that it ran over into the kids. And the kids became split. And it was mom and dad. And I told y'all early on in an earlier video, we always knew two of the kids was coming with me and his junior was going with him. We always knew that. So basically it became those two kids against that one kid in these epic arguments, and yes, even fights. This thing got real toxic. This is why I'm telling you, get help. Get help, because it tears your family apart. Get help. We're still fixing things to this day when it comes to our relationship with our children, to their relationship with one another. That thing came through our family like a tornado, like a tornado. And something as simple as counseling, in my opinion, could have saved it, and could have, I mean, not saying that we would have been perfect or that we were even perfect before, but I think we would have been better off with it, right? And it wouldn't have taken so much pain and hurt before we got to a place to where we even talk and deal with one another. Even right now, currently, I think it's probably been like 4 months or so, I am not speaking to my daughter, and she is not speaking to me. With all that's going on in the world, right? With social injustice, people being killed left and right, right? With COVID, we are not talking. That is very dangerous. That's a dangerous, because either one of us at any moment could close our eyes. And it's a very dangerous place to be. And a part of that is so much unresolved things because of that time. Those 6 years changed our lives forever. So I advise you, if you're in a relationship with someone who is a convict or an ex-convict, get professional help. The fallout of that thing is unbelievable. The blast radius. He has been out of prison since 2002. I'm sorry, yeah, 2002. Ooh, that's a shame, I had to remember. Since 2002. And it's kind of like Hiroshima. There are still effects there. There are still effects there. That's 20 years ago. And yes, there are still effects there. So if you don't listen to nothing I say, nothing else I say, if you don't believe nothing else I say, just invest in your family and get professional help, okay? Communication, understanding, those things are so key. And having the ability, being mature enough to agree to disagree. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Communication does not have to end in both of you saying, or however many people saying, oh yeah, we on the same page. I got that. Yeah, we agree. That does not, communication does not have to end like that. Communication can end with, I heard you out, you heard me out. Let's just agree to disagree. We're at an impasse here, right? It can end like that. That's still communication. It's still communication. Everybody don't walk to the left and everybody don't walk to the right. So it's okay to be doing this as long as there's no anger there. There's no discourse there. As long as you can agree to disagree, right? And not in anger, and not just for the sake of saying, oh, we're just gonna agree to disagree. No, a real understanding of what I feel and what you feel at this point cannot mesh. And I understand that, right? And I understand that. That's considering how the other person feels. Do that. Do that. You will save yourself a lot of pain, a lot of hurt. Learn to do that. Okay? Again, I am no professional. All the information I give you is from my personal opinion and my personal experience. And as I have learned over the years, experience is the best teacher. So if my experience can help you to not have to experience this thing from that side of it, at least from the negative point of it, and you learn how to navigate it and have a better outcome, then I have done what I set out to do. I love you guys. Until next time, Closet Tears. We will talk again. Bye.